What's up, family? Get this video a big thumbs up. So this Joe Rogan Trump interview, folks. I mean, this is just a gift that keeps on giving. I'll probably be uploading a couple videos on the topic because there are just so many good moments to cover, but most importantly, so many good concepts to cover and speak of. The topic is this: people see it and people get it. The left tries to paint this MAGA movement as something deeply sinister. Oh, it's just a hatred, a bunch of far-right extremists taking over the Republican Party. But it's anything but. And what it really is rebellion against an out-of-control, corrupt regimen or regime, and people get it. And that's why the powers that be in the media lashes out the way they do. And that point was highlighted so well in this interview. And I want to show you guys the greatest moments from the podcast related to this particular topic. And first, I want to start off with this clip right here. And I just want you guys to take a look at it because it's pretty self-explanatory, and I already pretty much laid the context, let alone the preface of the whole conversation that I want to ask you guys and have down in the comment section, or let alone let you guys give you guys perspective, thoughts, and insight and thoughts too in the comments. So check out this video.
Rebels are Republicans now. They're like, you want to be
I
a
never thought of
rebel,
it
you
that
want
way. I
to be
think
punk
you're right.
rock, you want to
Yeah.
buck the system. You're a conservative now. That's how crazy. And then the liberals are now pro silencing criticism. They're pro censorship online. They're talking
They
about
come after
regulating free speech and they're regulating the First Amendment. It's bananas to watch.
Joe, they come after their political opponent.
Well, they
I
do.
got more guys. I always say, I kid, but I'm not kidding. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the meanest of them all. He'd kill you in 2 seconds if he didn't like you, right? I've been under investigation more than Alphonse Capone, only because it's political opponent stuff. And I've won. I won the big case in Florida. I'm winning the other stuff. You win, but you know what they did? They did something that's only done in third world countries. They came after their political opponent.
Yes.
I could have put crooked Hillary in jail.
Well, not only that, but they're weaponizing it by saying that that's what you're going to do once you get in office.
Isn't it great?
By ignoring what they're doing right now. It's crazy.
I heard it. Somebody was defending me today. They said, no, they say that's what you're doing to him. They're going, he's going to put us in jail. He's going to invest.
That's what you're doing.
That's what you're doing to him.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, will you do that? Will you do that to him, to them, if you win? The presidency has tremendous power. I could have put crooked Hillary
I
in
respected
jail.
that you didn't because what you said was it would be bad.
Trump is less of a man at this point and more of an icon. And when you're an icon, you represent something. And that's exactly what it is. It's punk rock wanting to buck the system, and people who are being honest people who are paying attention always understood this. And I mean, for Pete's sake, even Michael Moore, far leftist Bernie Sanders documentary maker, Michael Moore understood this very clearly back in 2016. Check this out.
Because he's saying the things to people who are hurting. And it's why every beaten down, nameless, forgotten working stiff who used to be part of what was called the middle class loves Trump. He is the human Molotov cocktail that they've been waiting for.
And actually, speaking of leftists who understood this, even Anna Kasparin recently had this epiphany moment. Check this out, folks.
Is the middle finger manifested in human form. And I think that the individuals who support him, they might support him for other reasons as well, but I do think that one of the dominant reasons is that it's giving a middle finger to our political establishment, to our institutions. And a lot of Americans feel like those institutions and the political establishment has let them down, whether we're talking about the Democratic establishment or the Republican establishment.
And that's exactly it. It's people who are fed up with the growth of Washington. Washington's influence is spreading of its tentacles into every facet of life, controlling who gets to be in power, what's acceptable, what's not. And that's not the American way. That is the antithesis or antithesis, I should say, of what the founding fathers envisioned for this great nation. And really the dynamic between the powers that be, what people refer to as deep state, the dynamic between the deep state and Donald Trump and his candidacy. The rise of his candidacy is what I think woke so many people up. And I guess if you think about it, we're actually the woke ones. You know, people see it as clear as day. The moment Donald Trump was telling the truth, and of course, the moment he was perceived as an actual political threat, well, that's the moment where the establishment brigade started. Check this out, family.
Such a favorable light. The audience was cheering. And then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Yeah.
But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked and the way they've done it, so coordinated and systematically. And when you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show,
very.
She was encouraging you.
Mm. And that's another thing that Joe Rogan obviously understands, and he highlighted it to his tens of millions of loyal listeners. You know, people see it, and actually Dana White spoke about this recently, not too long ago. I want you guys to check this out, what Dana had to say, man. Very impactful, very realistic, very honest, straightforward, blunt as he is, a real stand-up guy.
On Donald Trump is one of the craziest things that I've ever seen, yet at the same time, brilliant and like a masterpiece in what they've done to this guy. First of all, he's a racist, right? They say he's a racist.
They say that, yeah.
Show me one video, 1 ounce of proof where he has ever acted like a racist. And one of the things that he's said to me, he said, let me tell you what, I've been in the hotel business my whole life. And in the hotel business, people from all over the world work for you. Never been called a racist until I became a Republican and ran for president, right? I mean, and you talk to anybody of any race or color that knows him and has known him for years, they love him.
Look, man, he said they love him. And Donald Trump's never been called a racist before until he ran as a Republican, right? And people clearly see the moment that Donald Trump started to ruffle their feathers in Washington. The globalists, the elites, the ones hell-bent on power, hell-bent on taking over the U.S. and reforming it in their UNWEF vision. The moment they saw Donald Trump actually challenging their power, it became all-out information warfare. And people saw that, and naturally, people who like to rebel against this kind of thing, you know, just like the founding Americans did, well, that's the moment Donald Trump became an icon. That's the moment this new MAGA movement started. People wanted to go back to the fundamental values of the nation: freedom of speech, freedom of expression, the right to bear arms, you know, the right to carve your own path, be in control, at least as in control as you can be, of your own destiny. And obviously the establishment types in Washington don't like that very much, especially in this digital age. They want to be able to control what you see, control what's allowed to be said. Essentially, they want to follow in the path of Canada, Germany, United Kingdom, Australia, the list goes on, etc., right? Where you have a parliamentary system totally controlled by the leftist tyrants who pass the laws that are abusive of people's right to expression. You know, essentially the Kamala Harris types. Check this out, folks.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
If you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
That's what the MAGA movement is rebelling against. What the MAGA movement cares about, first and foremost, is freedom. You know, the left talks a big game when it comes to corporations, dark money, corrupt politicians, and corrupt political groups. But if you think about it, it's almost every single instance they fall in line with these exact groups as long as it fits their interests. Meanwhile, you have the other side, led by figures like Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that are actually willing to stand up against the powers that be. And that was actually brought up in a couple times in the Rogan podcast. Check this out.
That is pressuring you to not work with him. Have there been
To
people
not
that are
work with
reaching
who? To not
RFK Jr.?
Yes.
Yes, I would imagine. Because
I would
financially,
say,
he could put a dent.
I would say that, and you know, I think in many ways they've done a good job. In many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the big pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that, you know, I have a relation. I've actually always gotten along very well with him. I've known him a long time. He's a different kind of a guy. He's very smart, great guy. And he's very sincere about this. I mean, he really is, you know, he thinks we spend a fortune on pesticides and all this stuff, and then you end up with that chart is a terrible chart, the one previous. It's such a bad chart when you look at where we are compared to other countries that don't spend 10 cents.
Right.
So, you know, and you save a lot of money. But yeah, I've had some people that aren't exactly thrilled.
First of all, I love this idea of you teaming up with Robert Kennedy.
Right.
And I love this Make America Healthy Again idea, because there are chemicals and ingredients in our food that are illegal in other countries because they've been shown to be toxic. There's pesticides and herbicides, and there's a lot of shit that's been sprayed on our food that really is unnecessary. And there's a lot of health consequences that people are suffering from a lot of these things. And
I brought this chart for you.
Beautiful.
Because I had a feeling you'd be asking me.
Thank
Look
you.
at this chart. These are healthier countries. Look where the United States is. I'm going to send this to RFK Jr. Look
so
at that.
this is, well, something along the, I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
I could see it.
That's
a lot
crazy.
A lot of it's obesity.
So here's the life expectancy versus
it.
health expenditure.
Same chart.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
USA.
Wow,
yeah.
that's pretty good.
Jamie's the best.
He's very good.
He's the best.
But
So
no, but look at that. Look where
at
the USA is.
It's not good. And
they
that's our
spend all that
food.
money.
That's our diet. That's sedentary lifestyle. That's our diet. That's the chemicals we ingest. That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, you know, I think he's a great guy.
I
think
love
he's
the
great.
fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah, it's
And
a
are you
good
guys
combination.
completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh,
I mean, do you need any more convincing that Donald Trump is the true anti-establishment pick? They're willing to take on Big Pharma, where obviously, I mean, we saw it, right? Not even going to really go into detail, but we saw the left falls in line with the interests of Big Pharma. You know, the simple fact is Donald Trump has put himself in harm's way in front of a literal bullet, I'll say. He's fearlessly taken on the establishment. People say that he's running for president because he only cares about Donald Trump. Charlemagne the God actually said that, but it's total nonsense. Donald Trump puts himself in literal harm's way. His businesses are currently being destroyed in the courts. His personal reputation, his freedom's at stake. I mean, they're charging him with what? Over 700 years worth of imprisonment and charges. He's lost, I think, roughly half of his net worth, getting hit with massive fines in New York by corrupt prosecutors. How could you possibly describe that as a man who's in for his own interests? It's obvious that Donald Trump is in it for your interests, the people, for the nation's interests, and most importantly, for the interests of freedom and protecting people's constitutional rights. The Republican Party has become the anti-establishment party, and it's become a grassroots movement that is awakened, that is honestly fighting for the interests of every American, despite the difficulty, despite the lack of influence and power, and especially cultural power. And that right there is why the leftist hacks and the media keep scratching their heads and saying, why isn't it working? We call Donald Trump Hitler again this week. Why is it not working? Well, it's not working because people see through it, and most importantly, the MAGA voter base is loyal, and they get it. And that's why Trump electoral floor remains as steadfast and strong as it is. People aren't going anywhere because they've been enlightened. They've seen it. They know how the cake is made. And like I always say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's the way and that's how it works. And that right there is Donald Trump's political superpower. And I'm just glad that it's being highlighted in front of such incredibly large audience by such an honest man like Joe Rogan. If you're a part of the shadowy cowboy as self-described by the left, well, then you're probably seething at this point. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Give this video a big thumbs up. It helps crush that YouTube algorithm. And I appreciate you for rocking with me. Let the love supersede the hate. Spread that peace, love, and positivity always. Peace, family.